How do residential construction projects impact future and current self-storage demand? So, when thinking about this, obviously, if you know that additional housing is coming to an area, that obviously signifies that more people will likely move into the area in the future. And as such, we obviously know the correlation between people who are moving and using self storage is pretty significant. So, this is a really good leading indicator as to what potential self storage demand could look like in the area. And what you can also do is analyze what future population growth projections could look like. So, in TrackedIQ, you can see I pulled up an area by Miami, Florida. And what you can do in TrackedIQ is obviously turn on these housing starts. So if we hide all the storage supply, you can see all these bubbles represent multifamily, residential subdivisions, or seniors housing projects across the country. We track over 79,000 of these projects. And you can see if you click on any of these bubbles, you'll be able to get all of the details and context on all of the projects across the country. So you can see like this one here is a $900 million conceptual project for about 2,000 units coming into the market in the future. You can see here's the developer information. Here's the general overview of the project. And obviously this is something that's really good to know if you had a self-storage facility. So for instance, if you were evaluating, this life storage facility here, or, looking to construct a new facility nearby, this is obviously a huge future demand indicator that, would be really positive for self-storage. So a couple of things that you can do here within the project itself, or the platform itself, you can obviously click in and get that detailed context. How this is important for your investment, there's a couple of ways that you can contextualize this within TrackedIQ. So first, if we're looking at a 135 mile radius of this area, and I'd even say it's a really densely populated area, which is great. So I'd really focus on the 1 and 3 mile. And you can see within 3 miles of the site, there's 167,000 people, a pretty low median income of 52,000. But you can obviously think about this project, obviously that's going to attract a different customer base for brand new, housing units. So that might not be something that you should be that, disappointed in, right? Because that can change in the future. We see there's a healthy amount of self-storage construction around the area. So you can see, we have this U-Haul construction project. We have this CubeSmart construction project, right? And if you click on more details, you can see, that this has just received approval from the City Commission's office, right? So you can analyze this site, but especially looking at the housing data, this is where you can really leverage our data. So here you can see we provide population growth projections based on two ways. The first is based on the census data, which takes the American Community Standards data, which is a historic looking indicator, and projects out future population growth. We then also take all of the housing units coming online in this area. We multiply that by the average people per household. We give you a secondary means of population growth. And this is what can set you apart from other investors. It's obviously seeing that there's potentially an additional 8,000 people that can move within this 3 mile or 1 mile radius of this site. If we go to 3 mile, you can see it's a 20,000 person delta based on all of the housing projects that we're tracking. And that has a huge impact on population growth and projected square foot per capita. So hugely, hugely important from what future self-storage demand can look like. Obviously, you'd have to balance that out with all the incoming self-storage construction in the area and come up with an adjusted analysis. But on a quick glance, this is super helpful. And then what you can even do from here is actually download all of our housing starts. So once you download the housing starts Excel report from TrackedIQ, you can see this is what will populate. So we'd give you the name of each project, the address, the number of units for each of these construction projects, as well as that really helpful project description on every single project, so you know the full context and details on what's going on. Give you the cost of the project, the stage that it's in, the kind of housing, and then we're super transparent with our data across the board. You can see we'll give you an estimated start date, an estimated date, or the date of last update, so you can see how fresh the data is, as well as the owner and developer contact information for each project. So you can call Eddie, you can call Ari, you can call Steven, and get all of the market intel from these folks, not just on this specific project, but some information as to why they got comfortable investing in the area, which can obviously help you defend the investment into this area for your investors. One other thing that I think is really helpful to contextualizing the opportunity or the property you're analyzing is obviously taking into account all of these housing units. So when you're doing your due diligence for your investment committee, you can total up all these units. You can see there's 15,000 units that I just circled here. And then you can calculate and sum up all of the costs of each project. And you can say to your investors that there is $1 billion of housing projects in the development pipeline within 5 miles of the site, totaling X units. And then during due diligence, you can go confirm each housing project and really provide a compelling narrative onto the growth trajectory of the area, which is obviously super valuable for you when you're defending an opportunity to investment committee, and also just to understand if the growth trajectory of the area is going to outpace or exceed census population growth and potentially lead to really strong self-storage demand in the future.